Hello everyone. Today we're talking about the truth and the courage it takes to defend it. Prince Harry is standing up to the British tabloid press, specifically the Daily Mail. This isn't just another celebrity complaint. It's a challenge to how news is gathered and how our stories are told. Harry claims that for years, powerful newspapers have used unlawful methods to get private information, crossing a line from journalism into something much darker. He's providing evidence and testimony, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable truth behind the headlines. For Harry, the price of public life should never be the loss of basic human rights to privacy and safety. He accuses associated newspapers of illegal tactics. Media, newspaper headlines about phone hacking, private investigators following someone, journalists on phones phone hacking, hiring private investigators, and obtaining private records through deception. These are serious accusations that suggest a media culture believing itself above the law. Harry's stand is forcing a necessary conversation about the line between public interest and private intrusion. He's not backing down, using his platform to expose what he calls the game between the press and the institution he was born into. For too long, there's been a silent agreement to let these practices continue. Harry is seeking justice not just for himself, but for all victims of this kind of intrusion. His fight is a reminder that holding power to account is a responsibility we all share. And it starts with asking hard questions. Let's talk about the language tabloids use. Phrases like, "a palace source says," or "a friend reveals." These words sound official, but Harry is asking us to question them. Often sources are a mask, hiding how information was really obtained. Newspapers use vague terms to protect themselves, allowing them to publish private details without accountability. If a story says a friend shared a detail, we imagine a confidant. But what if it came from a hacked voicemail or a private investigator? The difference is huge. One is a breach of trust, the other a potential crime. This vague language blurs the line between legitimate reporting and illegal activity. Harry argues this isn't just lazy journalism, it's a deliberate strategy to legitimize information gathered unlawfully. By exposing this, he's asking us to look past the words and see the actions behind them. The reality is far less glamorous and far more sinister. What are these unlawful acts Harry is talking about? This is where things get dark. He alleges serious criminal activity, like phone hacking, where private voicemails are accessed illegally. Imagine someone listening to your messages from loved ones. That's not just invasive, it's criminal. Harry and others accuse newspapers of hiring private investigators for illegal surveillance, following people, bugging homes, using long lenses to invade privacy. Another tactic is blagging, tricking institutions into giving out confidential records by pretending to be someone else. These aren't isolated incidents. Harry argues they were standard practice for some of the biggest media organizations. The information gathered would then be published under the guise of a palace insider. This is the secret engine Harry believes has driven the tabloid machine for decades. It's a system built on breaking the law for the sake of a scoop, and it's time we see it for what it is. This isn't a new problem, nor did it start with Harry and Meghan. The Leveson inquiry exposed the shocking extent of phone hacking and press misconduct years ago. Victims have included celebrities, politicians, and ordinary people, anyone who found themselves in the news. People have had their private conversations listened to, their medical records stolen, and their families torn apart by lies. The human cost is immeasurable, a betrayal at the most vulnerable moments of people's lives. Harry's fight is not just for himself. He stands on the shoulders of all those who suffered before him. He's trying to finish a fight for real, lasting change in the media. The promises of reform made in the past weren't enough. By bringing this case now, Harry is forcing us to confront this pattern of abuse once and for all. The goal, to ensure it doesn't continue to claim more victims. This is about breaking a cycle that's gone on for too long. We can't talk about Harry's battle with the press without talking about his mother, Princess Diana. Diana was relentlessly pursued by paparazzi. Her life turned into tabloid fodder. Harry remembers the cameras, the shouting, the fear it caused his mother. For him, this is not just a legal issue, it's personal trauma. He sees history repeating itself with Meghan and his own family. Diana died in a car crash while being chased by paparazzi. A culture of aggressive intrusion created the circumstances of that night. For Harry, fighting the tabloids is about protecting his family from the same fate. It's a son's promise to his mother, to honor her memory by fighting the system that caused her pain. He's turning grief into a force for change. Holding the press accountable is the only way to ensure Diana's story isn't repeated. This is a fight for justice, for his mother, his wife, and his children. Imagine waking up every day not knowing what private detail about your life will be splashed across the headlines. This is Harry's reality, a constant state of anxiety and suspicion. He's spoken openly about the toll this takes on mental health, anger, helplessness, fear. Living under a microscope magnifies every flaw and mistake, creating an immense burden. The impact extends beyond the individual. It affects relationships, creating distrust among family and friends. When private information appears in the papers, you start to wonder who leaked it, isolating you further. This isolation is a deliberate tactic. A person who feels alone is easier to control and exploit. For Harry and Meghan, it reached a crisis point. They felt their safety was at risk. Their decision to step back from royal roles and move abroad was an act of self-preservation. It wasn't made lightly, but was necessary for their well-being. Their story highlights the real human cost of the tabloid machine. It's measured in sleepless nights, broken relationships, and lasting emotional scars. This is the price of relentless media intrusion. This is a David and Goliath story, Harry versus some of the world's most powerful media corporations. For decades, these organizations have operated with impunity, believing they're too big to be challenged. Harry's goal is true accountability, not just settlements or apologies, but a public reckoning. He wants these companies to admit their methods and face real consequences. By taking them to court, he's shining a light into the darkest corners of the industry. One major obstacle, the cozy relationship between the press, police, and politicians. Harry is challenging this status quo, insisting no one should be above the law. His lawsuit is a direct challenge to the system that's protected powerful media figures for so long. Ultimately, this is about changing the culture, valuing truth and ethics over sensationalism and profit. Harry's fight is a demand for new rules, where journalism serves the public good. You might wonder, what does this have to do with me? The tactics Harry accuses the tabloids of, hacking, surveillance, deception, can be used against anyone. In a digital age, our private information is more vulnerable than ever. The principles at stake are universal: privacy, dignity, and the rule of law. If powerful organizations can get away with this, what stops them from targeting anyone? This is about the kind of society we want, one that values privacy and accountability. Tabloid culture affects us all, creating a climate of fear and judgment. By supporting press accountability, we stand up for our own rights. Harry's fight is a reminder. An attack on one person's privacy is a threat to everyone's. This isn't just his fight, it's ours too. Where do we go from here? Harry's legal challenge is a call to action. He's asking us to demand better from our media and to think critically about the news we consume. When you see a sensational headline from an anonymous source, ask, how did they get that information? We, as news consumers, have the power to drive change. The courts will decide Harry's case, but the court of public opinion matters too. We need to support responsible, ethical journalism and turn away from outlets that thrive on scandal and intrusion. Harry's goal is to reform the system for future generations, so his children don't grow up in the same toxic environment. This is a story about truth and the courage to speak it. even when it's hard. Whether you're a prince or a regular citizen, we all deserve privacy and honourable news. How we respond now will define the world we leave for our children.